попали на экскурсию по Junior Park, то есть Парк Юрского периода. Будем проезжать места, где снимался этот фильм, где снимался фильм «Конг». Будем смотреть места, где во время Великой Отечественной войны были определенные бункера. То есть все это будем смотреть. Все, что я смогу, друзья, я для вас обязательно.
Private nature reserve. Now we're actually broken up into 3 separate land divisions, what we here in Hawaii call Oahu Pua'as. You guys want to try to say that word? Nicely done. An Oahu Pua'a is a land division, like a county, a district, a parish, or a borough. Kualoa is actually made up of 3 of them. You're on the middle one right now. This is Kualoa. 622 acres it is. And it also is the name of this mountain here on your left-hand side. And Kualoa actually means long back, all right? Long back. And I'm hoping somebody will remember that because, well, that's going to come into play a little later on in the tour. Now, this particular Oahu Pua'a was actually purchased way back in 1850 by a fellow by the name of Dr. Garrett P. Judd. And Dr. Judd came to Hawaii with the missionaries. Now, that gun was actually loaded onto a trailer. The trailer would have been backed into that opening right there, and then the guy operating the system sat in this little 8-clove off to the side. You guys see where the gilly grass is popping up out of the top there? Yeah. Hey, I got any fans of the TV show Lost on board today? TV show Lost. Yeah? Did you make it all the way to the end? Good for you! I tapped out when the polar bear showed up. If you look off to your left, that bunker right there stars in season 4 of Lost. That probably looked a whole lot bigger on TV too, didn't it? Yeah? Well, that's what TV does, guys. You know what they say, right? Adds 10 pounds. There's a little bit of truth to that, my friends. A little bit.
Вот нас привезли на одну из точек. Это военный пункт. Сейчас мы попытаемся там пройти, посмотреть, что нам расскажут. Вот такой здесь вид. Это наблюдательный был пункт. То есть вот там наверху наблюдали за океаном, за кораблями, которые заходили в эту бухту. Вот такая вот сегодня здесь территория. На волнах плавают серфингисты. Кстати, я обещал вам показать одно из деревьев, которые похожи на хвою, да? Вот так она выглядит, ребят. Друзья, ну вот это, так скажем, военная база, да, она 7 этажей. Вот такая здесь стоит машина. Здесь скорая помощь, по-нашему это будет, да? Вот, скорая помощь, то есть такой вот он. Включалась броневичок, джип. Вот пушки наверху, которые обстреливали этот залив. Вот так это выглядело. Корабли заходили, их обстреливали. Какой-то холодильник. Медицинские коробки какие-то, медикал. Здесь личные вещи бойцов, которые воевали. Здесь Кока-Кола, до сих пор стоит Кока-Кола. Ну, скорее всего, того времени, а там не знаю. Ну, то есть что-то, как у нас на панораме, да, пришел, военный тематика, всех посмотрел, все увидел. Здесь Куала Ранч, плакаты того времени. Здесь вот один из бункеров, я даже не знаю, что это, что-то японское здесь, что-то японское. Какие-то ящики, какие-то То есть я так понимаю, что это все те фильмы, которые были сняты здесь, на этом острове. Интересно. И тут еще. Вот в 19 году уже снимали этот фильм «Тройной фронт». Здесь «Мир юрского периода», 18-й год, «Джуманджи», 17-й год снимался, «Конг», «Остров черепа» здесь снимался, как я говорил. Ну, пойдемте дальше. Вот здесь проходили видеосъемки. Такой вот макет долины. Здесь своего рода для съемках фильма вот такого использовалось. Ну, ничего особенного, вот так вот просто посмотреть для того, чтобы знать, увидеть. Своего рода рация, микрофон стоит, первый, я второй. Бункера какие-то здесь, то есть в скале, представляете, вот это все выбито в скале, огромная скала, гора, тут какие-то башки их не местные. Вот сюда мы пойдем, здесь снимался кинофильм «Конг». Вот это мы будем сейчас видеть все, вживую будем видеть ихнюю челюсть. То есть вот это все будем сейчас смотреть. Вот они, кости. Пенопласт. Из пенопласта кости, которые использовались при кинофильме «Конг». А мы смотрели и думали: вау, вот это кости. Вот столько вот здесь было снято фильмов. Годзилла тут нарисована. Тоже в 16 году снималась. Джуманджи снималась. Если помните и смотрели такой фильм, то здесь вот Джуманджи снимался. Вот. Ну вот, столько было снято здесь фильмов. Это интересно. О. Сериал Lost, о чем я говорил, да? Оставленные. Вот он здесь. Их актеры. Здесь мишка, почему-то белый, полярный. Ихние вещи тут. Сериалы. Макет подводной лодки, которая якобы поднималась из воды. То есть все это пенопласт и какие-то Артем тут пытается печатать на машинке, вырывает себе буквы на память. Вот. Ну вот такие вот у нас прекрасные минуты времяпровождения здесь. Здесь как раз динозавр. Вот он шевелится, видите? Смотрите. Вот тот самый Тиранорекс. Чуть-чуть вот так. Артем решил себя прокатиться на машине. 15-го года фильм. Парк Юрского периода. Мир, точнее.
You guys see this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good movie, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Ну как, Артем, заводи, поехали домой.
Сейчас попробую.
Не заводится, аккумулятор сел. Ну, теперь у нас решила Анастасия посидеть за рулем этого прогулочного джипа.
Прям как мама хотела, смотри туда.
Окей. Ну вот. Вот так вот.
The current owner is the Morgan family. John Morgan is our president and CEO. And along with being just a terrific human being, he also happens to be a direct descendant of Dr. Garrett P. Judd. So this property has been in his family for the last 6 generations. Now, folks, that's a little unheard of in Hawaii because usually children cannot afford their parents' homes here. And that's because the price of the house just goes up exponentially. Coming up on your right are freshwater ponds. They were made by a stream that runs right through the middle of this valley.
Здесь разводят
Now,
шрифт.
one of the reasons it's so expensive to live in Hawaii or even to visit Hawaii is because 80 to 90% of everything that we consume, we have to import. Hawaiians lived here for 1,500 years. They never imported anything. And they did this by practicing 2 principles. What's very unique about this Hawaiian village, you see that the plants in it are exclusively what we call canoe plants. Meaning these are the plants that the Hawaiians brought over on their canoes to start and sustain life here in the middle of the Pacific. So we have the ni'u, that is the coconut, the maya, the banana. That solo singular tree by itself, that's ulu. I'll talk more about that later. On the ground right there coming up, they're going to put some new palm fronds down. That's kalo, taro. You guys might know its byproduct, which is poi. And on this little finger right here is u'ala. Everybody say u'ala. Very good. You've now just said sweet potato in Hawaiian. Well done. Anybody see the movie Kong, Skull Island? One guy? Okay. Very good. Off to your right-hand side, this is where they filmed the scene where Samuel L. Jackson is trying to kill Kong. So they erected a 30-foot green screen here so they could add Kong in later. But really what I want, those aren't real lava rocks, ladies and gentlemen. Those are made out of styrofoam. You see, this is the #1 reason we don't have a whole bunch of movie sets out here, ladies and gentlemen, because movie sets really aren't meant to last. Did you guys go into the lost room in the bunker? Saw the submarine? The whole entire thing is made out of styrofoam. In the Journey 2 room with the big pillars, every single thing in there is made out of styrofoam. So the #1 reason you're not going to see a whole bunch of movie sets out here is because, well, movie sets aren't built to last, all right? There's other reasons, but they'll work themselves out through the tour. Anybody see the movie Midway? Midway? No? Okay, no worries. I think I did mention early on that we are a cattle ranch, and of the 4,000 acres that we have here, 1,500 is pasture land, all right? So when we say our beef is free range, we have diversified, are these animals coming up on your left-hand side. These are not goats, ladies and gentlemen. These are sheep. They're called Dorper Sheep. to this breed. You see, Dorper Sheep, because they come from South Africa, can withstand the higher temperatures that we have here in Hawaii. So we like them for that. We also like them because they mature quickly at around 9 months. But best of all, we like them because you see that wool that's on their body? We do not have to shear that. That's going to fall off naturally, kind of like a bison. I mean, because quite honestly, what use do we have for wool in Hawaii? We don't have big use for wool in Hawaii, right? Yeah, not so much. All right, the young man right here, can I get southern portion of our property, we are farming Pacific white shrimp. Good morning, Hans. We are farming Pacific white shrimp and oysters as well. I don't know, you guys eat oysters? Okay. Kualoa has some very, very good oysters. And I'm going to invite all of you guys to go check out our farmer's market after the tour. I'll point it out to you guys. I'm not saying you need to go in there and spend all your money. I'm just saying it's kind of a cool place to go visit. The tree on your right, guys, this is the ulu tree, also known as the... You can make fries, you can make chips, all those great things. So agriculture was a huge part of why the Hawaiians were so successful out here in the middle of the Pacific. So we do a lot of diversified ag out here.
Так растет
These are our
папайя.
papaya fields. You guys eat papayas? Yeah? Anybody eat it with lime? Oh, cousins. All right. Next time you have a half a papaya, squeeze a little lime juice. Some people like lemon. I prefer lime. Squeeze a little lime juice on that and then consume. Cool. Salt on you guys. So good. Who saw the movie Jumanji? One person saw the movie Jumanji? My friends from Alaska. The only movie guy going? You guys don't see the movies? Not so much. Banana leaves and mulch topped it off with an IMO, indigenous microorganism. And as the waste of the pig filters down through those elements, that IMO attacks it. That is what reduces the smell. It also reduces the flies.
Здесь
And
снимался
every 5 years,
кинофильм
we'll take that out.
«Джуманджи».
We'll start that all over again. Pretty cool way to have a piggery. Yeah, bacon, you probably should have some eggs. Now, our chickens are pretty cool, guys. They lay brown eggs, white eggs, and blue eggs. Have you ever seen a blue chicken egg? They're gorgeous. Go down to the farmer's market, ask the girls to show you some blue
Мясо
chicken eggs.
курицы синие, говорят.
This is Maya, the
Яйца
banana.
синие, яйца.
Now, you guys might have noticed already that the bananas that we
Вот
grow here in Hawaii,
бананы,
they're shorter and
плантация
fatter than
бананов,
maybe your
вот так вот
Chiquita
они растут.
or your Dole bananas, but they're also sweeter. We call these apple bananas. Now, we're not crossbreeding apples and bananas, guys. This is just a nickname for them. It does take about 1 year to grow a bunch of bananas. Once the bunch is ready... 3 people work in this department, but they do everything from the sheep all the way around the corner to this beautiful shade house, where we have plants such as the dragon fruit. We've got pineapple in there. We've got kava in there. We've got bromeliads and orchids in there. But my favorite are those small trees all the way to the back. You guys see those small trees? That's cacao. You guys know what cacao makes? Chocolate. It does indeed make chocolate. So we make our own chocolate as well. All right, guys, get your cameras ready. I want to welcome you to this beautiful and magnificent Ka'a'ava Valley, also known as Jurassic Valley.
Здесь уже снимался парк Юрского периода. Мир Юрского.
Now, the mountain that you see in the background back there, guys, in the middle, the name of that mountain is Pu'u'ohulehule. Now, if I translate that for you, it actually means 2 waves crashing together. You see, Hawaiians like to name things as they saw them. So the Hawaiians, the mountain on the left looks like an incoming wave, and the one on the right like an outgoing wave. And when those waves collided, they created the mountain in the middle. Anybody know what this statue is right here, or where it might be from? Yeah, this is a Moai statue from the island of Rapa Nui, commonly known as Easter Island. So why do we have it? Well, first and foremost, guys, that's not styrofoam, that's 5,000 pounds of solid rock. And the reason we have it here is to highlight and showcase it's not just the movie industry that comes here, television does too. In this case, National Geographic. That's not how we did it at all. We moved them on the vertical with our mana, with our spirit strength. Now you have to watch the documentary to find out what was actually possible. Alright, I was really excited that you all got into that Jeep outside the bunker, because you see that Jeep was used in the movie Jurassic World. That's not just a prop, That is one of our former touring vehicles. So Universal Studios actually borrowed that from us. That Jeep and that scene were shot right here in this pasture. So what it's going to look like on the big screen is the Jeep is moving across from right to left. There's going to be dinosaurs running right next to it, done by CGI. Do you guys know what CGI is? Computer generated imagery. Exactly right. So in that case, those dinosaurs were CGI'd, but there's something else I want you to look for. It's going to be in the background. The background's going to be the valley wall right here. And across the entire valley wall is going to be the monorail. You remember the monorail? There's a rain in here annually. And I got to tell you, when it rains really, really hard, we will get 27 waterfalls coming down that side of the valley. It is stunning, you guys. Absolutely stunning. Right now, though, I'm going to take you guys to what is probably the most famous dead tree in all of Hawaii. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jurassic Park. So we are going to get out here. We're going to take some really fun pictures. All right. Before we do that, let me set the scene for you. Dr. Alan Drant and the Hammond kids are on that hill right there. That's where they see that herd of gallimimus, and they realize, oh my goodness, we're being stampeded. So they came running down the hill, took refuge by the log, when all of a sudden out of the trees, T-Rex comes and eats the gallimimus right in front of them. You guys remember this scene? All right, good, because we're going to reenact it. That's right, you guys are the stars, but I have to be today, Dustin Morning.
Так вот убегают от динозавров. Нас тоже сейчас попросили встать в такие позы, как будто бы мы убегаем. Друзья, ну вообще это очень красиво. Конечно, здесь нет сейчас спецэффектов, там, тех динозавров, которые бегут за нами. Но посмотрите, насколько просто сама природа, насколько она красива. Как чудесно, как великолепно. Вот такие горы возвышаются. Здесь долины, равнины, холмы. Насколько это все прекрасно. Это след от Годзиллы. Снимался здесь фильм «Годзилла», и это ее след.
Now, what's so unique about Godzilla movie is that this is the very first time Hollywood was allowed to make a Godzilla movie. So, now we have two Godzillas. We have the American version, and of course we have the Japanese version as well. So how do you tell them apart? You simply look at their toes. The American Godzilla only has 3 toes. The Japanese Godzilla will have 4 or 5. That's the easiest way to tell them apart. Anybody see the movie Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates? No? Alright. Well, if you do, one of the funniest scenes is this ATV jump scene right here. I don't know if this is on Netflix anymore. It was on Netflix for a while, but it might have
Кинг-Конг снимался.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why Hollywood comes to Kualoa, because of course the natural beauty that you see here. I'm going to talk about some of these movies as we drive by. If you saw the movies, that's fantastic. If you haven't seen the movies, that's okay too. First one coming up is You, Me, and Dupree, Owen Wilson, Kate Hudson, Matt Dillon. They actually fly a yellow airplane around and around and around inside this valley, and I'll be honest, there is no mistaking this valley in that movie. And I truly believe, now that you guys have actually been in it already, personally, you'll start recognizing it a little bit more as well. Krippendorf Tribe is a movie that nobody's ever seen. Anybody on board seen that movie? Oh, there you go. What about 50 First Dates? You guys see 50 First Dates? Yes, okay. Background. Drew Barrymore, Adam Sandler, and of course the incomparable Rob Schneider. Now, folks, this road that we're on right now, you stood on it, you walked on it. This is the road that Lucy drives to work every single day. So you're actually on the set of 50 First Dates right now. This is where Henry puts the penguin down. Do you guys remember that scene? Yeah. So Lucy's driving home from work. She goes to reach for the CD, but it falls to the ground, so she bends down to pick it up. And that's how she runs over the penguin.
Здесь снимался фильм «Джуманджи».
From the movie Jumanji. If you guys look off to your right-hand side, you'll see the coconut trees over there. Farthest one on the left. If you look right behind it, you'll notice that the terrain gets very, very flat. All right. That's where they actually built the transportation shed from that movie. That's only about 200, 250 meters away, so I want you to notice how close that is, because I'm going to come back to that in a moment. Anybody see the movie Wind Talkers? Wind Talkers? No? Nobody? Okay. Not a bad movie. They used 280 live explosions. We actually had to close this road, but that meant that studio also had to buy all the tickets of all the tours that couldn't come through here. Jumanji actually sent a production specialist down to the road right here. She stopped me. I had to turn off the engine. We literally sat here while they filmed that scene right there. Yeah, it was pretty amazing actually.
Оказывается, как много
Triple
фильмов
Frontier. Anybody seen the movie
здесь.
Triple Frontier? Netflix movie. You guys got Netflix? Then you can see this. It's actually still in the queue. Ben Affleck and of course Charlie Hummus. For my buddy over here who saw it, you remember the Cocaine Village? Yeah, right there in this gully. That's where the Cocaine Village was shot. And also the helicopter crash is right there as well. That's where that big brown spot is right there. The helicopter crash, which is very cool. Mighty Joe Young. This is the movie that stars Charlize Theron and the late Bill Paxton. About 80% of that movie was filmed here, so there's no mistaking the valley in that flick. And as I go around this corner back here, I want you guys to look all the way to the back of the valley back there. Do you guys see a building back there?
Вот то место,
Yeah,
где
that's the
снимался
radio bunker
кинофильм
from the movie
«Конг».
Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. Yeah, what do you suppose it's made out of? Styrofoam. Yeah, and plywood. You guys get it, right? You guys understand why there's not just a whole bunch of movie sets laid along the line right here, right? You guys get it, you're smart. Now there's two other reasons why you won't see a whole bunch of movie sets. The first of those is, you know, what is Kualoa? Well, by definition, ladies and gentlemen, we're a nature reserve. That means it's our kuleana, our responsibility to be taking care of the land. We wouldn't be doing a very good job if we allowed dilapidated buildings and styrofoam to pollute up our pastures. And our streams, too. There's a little stream on your left-hand side. The third reason why you won't see a whole bunch of movie sets is because of who lived in this valley when only Hawaiian people lived here. You see, this valley was the home of the Ali'i, Hawaiian royalty. So there is sacredness to the land as well. So the three major reasons why you won't see movie sets are: one, they're not built to last; two, we're a nature reserve; and three, the land is sacred. Coming up on your right are going to be, these are not movie sets, these are replicas of ancient Hawaiian homes called hales, H-A-L-E. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Hawaiians did live in homes made out of grass. The grass was called pili grass. And I have to tell you, the very first time... To the boneyard.
Вот он Кинг-Конг. Точнее, родители
Yes, ladies and
Кинг-Конга,
gentlemen, they are
которого...
made out of styrofoam. The triceratops, the ribs, and the skull are actually held together with rebar.
Йо-хо!
This movie stars Samuel L. Jackson, John Goodman, John C. Reilly, and Tom Hiddleston.
Вот здесь снимался этот кинофильм, о котором я уже говорил, «Кинг-Конг. Остров черепа». Вот это лежат кости родителей Кинг-Конга.
Now, folks, when the Hawaiians came to these islands, they brought with them three animals. It's like $1.99 on Amazon Prime. Totally good for kids. Really good for kids. The tall, skinny piece was an anthill. Kualoa painted it that color to try to help preserve it. And while I'm not a big fan of the paint color, I do completely agree with trying to preserve the movie sets for our guests. I just thought it looked a whole lot better when it looked like bones kind of drying out in the desert. Now, speaking of bones, Hawaiians felt that your mana, your spirit, resides inside your bones. Therefore, it was. So because it destabilizes it, it creates the makings of a landslide. The landslide is the problem, guys.
Дикие
because what
свиньи.
it does is it,
Да, я видел.
wipes out ground nesting birds and native plants.
Вот это, поросенок. Маленький дикий поросенок.
So you can hunt this pig in Hawaii. You just need to be permitted for it, that's all. Now the other animal that we consider predatory was gosh darn. It's not his fault. Not really. You see back in the 18...
Друзья, ну какой итог всей нашей поездки? Я могу точно сказать, что приезжать сюда только для того, чтобы погреть свое пузико, поваляться на волнах, оно того не стоит. Этот остров, он великолепен во всех точках этого острова. Посмотрите, очень и очень интересно. Мы проехали этот тур, он был просто изумителен. Там говорили о тех фильмах, которые снимались на этом острове. Мы проезжали мимо Парка Юрского периода, мира Юрского периода, мимо Конга снимался фильм. То есть много других кинофильмов снималось. Просто сидеть на солнце? Нет. Гулять, наслаждаться, радоваться тому, что ты это видишь. Да. Всем удачи и хорошего дня.